Most people think, even lots of cardiologists think, LDL is a single type of cholesterol particle. In reality, it comes in two main forms. Large buoyant LDL, which are big, fluffy particles that carry more cholesterol per particle. They are less likely to slip into your artery wall and are generally less atherogenic. The second type is the small, dense LDL. These particles are compact, heavy particles that easily penetrate the endothelium, oxidize, and trigger inflammation. These are strongly linked to plaque buildup and cardiovascular disease. Now, why this matters? If most of your LDL is large buoyant, your LDL may look high, but your ApoB stays relatively low because fewer particles are needed to transport cholesterol. If your LDL is mostly small and dense, your ApoB rises sharply, since many more particles are needed to carry the same cholesterol load. More particles equals more ApoB equals higher risk. So the key is not just the amount of cholesterol, it's the type of LDL particle and the ApoB particle count that reveal your true risk. Now we've just talked about the difference between large buoyant LDL and small dense LDL, but the obvious question is what actually determines which type your body makes more of. The answer comes often down to triglycerides and a particle called the LDL, or very low density lipoprotein. vLDL is made in the liver to carry triglycerides into the bloodstream. When triglycerides are high, usually from excess consumption of refined carbs such as sugar, white bread, or excessive insulin resistance, the liver pumps out more vLDL. Each of those vLDL particles carries one ApoB. As they circulate, they are gradually broken down into smaller particles, turning into RDL or intermediate density lipoprotein, then eventually becoming LDL. But here is the catch. When there is too much vLDL, the process leaves behind a surge of small dense LDL. Now, small dense LDL is a problem because each particle carries less cholesterol. To move the small amount of cholesterol, your body ends up making far more particles. And more particles means higher ApoB. That's why people with high triglycerides often look normal on an LDL test, but their ApoB is actually elevated and the risk is much higher than it appears. As I showed in my previous case presentation, we admitted a patient with a massive heart attack. His LDL level was extremely low, but his vLDL and triglycerides were high. This implied that despite the very low LDL number, most of it was made up of small dense LDL. And even this small amount of small dense LDL was enough to trigger a fatal cardiovascular event. This is what we call atherogenic dyslipidemia, the deadly trio of high triglycerides, low HDL, and small dense LDL. It's the metabolic fingerprint of insulin resistance, and it explains why triglycerides are such a powerful driver of ApoB and why ApoB is such a powerful predictor of risk. So the lesson is simple. When triglycerides go up, ApoB goes up, and when ApoB goes up, so does cardiovascular risk, even if your LDL number looks perfectly fine. Thank you for watching. Before you go, please consider subscribing, as 75% of our total watch time hours comes from non-subscribers. Your support helps us reach more people and helps us creating more content just like this. And if you'd like to learn more about this topic, please watch the full video right over here.